Welcome to Capital Currents, where the flow of business news and market trends keeps you ahead of the tide. I am your watchdog, and today is Tuesday, June 24th. In this episode, let's talk about how the markets are reacting to the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Then, Tesla's robo-taxi launch in Austin. Finally, Apple's new acquisition is not what you think it is. Stock index futures are still positive as investors assess U.S. strikes against nuclear facilities in Iran. And remember, the S&P 500 is within 3% of all-time highs, but looks like investors seem to be optimistic that things will get worked out without too much economic disruption. In terms of what this means for markets is all about whether the Iranian regime weaponizes oil, and in particular whether they seek to close the Strait of Hormuz, where over 20% of the world's oil flows daily. Iran's parliament voted on Sunday to close the strait in response to U.S. strikes, although the final decision lies with Iran's Supreme National Security Council and the Supreme Leader. Tesla finally launched their robo-taxi service in Austin, Texas over the weekend, and Elon set the price at exactly $4.20 per ride. Now, this wasn't a full launch, it's more of like a soft opening. It was only open to a handful of social media influencers to test out the service. These rides take place in a red Model Y with no one in the driver's seat, but there is a Tesla employee riding shotgun for safety reasons and to monitor the performance of the self-driving car. If you live in Austin, keep an eye out for these cars. Tesla has put a robo-taxi logo on the side of these cars, so you should be able to see them. Right now, the cars are only available in a small part of the city between 6 a.m. and midnight. But Elon says the goal is to scale from the 10 to 20 cars they have now to over 1,000 cars in the next few months. The tech giant just signed a deal with Peter Chernon's North Road studio, giving Apple first dibs on any new film projects the studio develops. That's a pretty major shift because for the last 5 years, Peter Chernon's company had been making movies for Netflix. He was the producer behind Ford vs. Ferrari, Planet of the Apes franchises, and the popular show New Girl. Now, Peter Chernon's company had already been working with Apple. They produced the show See with Jason Momoa, and I guess the two sides are now expanding that partnership. And this move just signals how serious Apple is about building out their entertainment division and their streaming service. They continue to invest billions of dollars into shows and movies with huge high-profile stars. The upcoming F1 movie with Brad Pitt is a great example of that. That's all the business headlines I have for you. Let's take a look at some stocks. Shares of the fintech firm Fiserv are rising this morning after the company announced plans to launch their own stablecoin. Fiserv does a lot of payment products for banks and other institutions, but they also compete against the POS systems like Toast and Square with their own product called Clover. The company wants to get into stablecoins, and they've made deals with Circle and PayPal to help do so. The partnership will attach Circle's USDC stablecoin infrastructure to Fiserv's banking network for digital assets. This will help clear payments through stablecoins, and as a result, shares of Fiserv are up around 6% this morning, and Circle stock just keeps pumping. It's up big again this morning. Shares have gone up more than 700% since they IPO'd like 3 weeks ago. On the flip side, shares of Hims and Hers are down nearly 30% this morning after Novo Nordisk abruptly canceled a high-profile partnership to distribute its blockbuster weight loss drug through the Hims platform. Novo Nordisk did keep their partnership with other telehealth providers, including LifeMD, which saw their stock rise more than 4% on this news. Masayoshi Son is looking to team up with TSM in what could be his biggest bet yet. A $1 trillion industrial complex in Arizona to build robots and artificial intelligence. The company is making a bold push into AI, pledging up to $40 billion in investments toward OpenAI, starting with an initial $8.5 billion through its Vision Fund 2. Let's wrap the show with a fun fact. Pixar just had its worst box office opening in their history. Their new original movie, Elio, brought in just $21 million over the weekend, which is brutal since Disney reportedly spent over $250 million to make and market this movie. The last original Pixar movie, Elemental, also flopped when it was released back in 2023, and I think this is a great example why Hollywood studios are hesitant to make original movies. They want familiarity, and that's why sequels crush it. Inside Out 2 made over $1.7 billion, and Moana 2 also made over $1 billion. I think that's why we're going to see Hollywood keep cranking out these sequels. That's all for today's show. Keep navigating those waters, and see you tomorrow.